All right, we're going to continue with the problems in the study guide. We are on number 7 in word problems, so let's take a look. A wound dressing is 54 meters long, so I'm going to draw. It's better to draw because you can visualize it. You need to cut it in two pieces such that one is 12 meters longer than the other. One is 12 meters longer than the other. So I'm cutting it in two pieces. One part is longer than the other. So this is the shorter part, and this is the longer part. So the shorter part, if it's x, then the longer part is 12 more than the shorter part. So I would say x plus 12. You see it, and that's it. So these two, x plus 12 and x, if you add them together, they should give you the whole thing, right? The 54 inches. So you say equals 54. And then you add a plus here. X plus 12 plus x equals 54. X plus x is 2x plus 12 equals 54. Now you subtract 12 from it. You subtract 12 here. So 2x equals 54 minus 12 is going to give us 42. 2x equals 42. 2x equals 42. Divide both sides by 2. Divide both sides by 2. And if you do that, you're going to have 2x equals 42 divided by 2, divided by 2, x equals 42 divided by 2 is 21. But the problem says, what is the length of the longer piece? But x is the shorter piece. So you go back to your wound dressing, the drawing, and then you're going to say x is 21. So the longer part is going to be 21, which is x plus 12, which gives me 33. 33. 33. All right. Number 8. Number 8. You have been tasked with determining the amount of funding for 3 projects. The budget is 7,200. So I'm going to write that down. The total budget is 7,200. There are 3 projects. Project A must be 1/3 of Project C. So A is 1/3 of Project C. That is C divided by 3, or 1/3 times C. Project B is twice Project C. And then, of course, Project C is just C. So this tells me that A plus B plus C equals 7,200. But A is C over 3. B is 2C. And then 3 is C. 7,200. So I set up an equation. My unknown variable is C. Or my variable is C. So I have C over 3 plus 2C plus C. Now you could add all these. These are like terms, C, C, C. You could add them together. Remember, the third of C is 1C over 3. So 1/3. So you're doing 1/3 plus 2 plus 1. Because 1, here you have 1C here. So you're adding like terms. Of course, you know that this part is easier when you add them together than adding fractions. So 2C plus 1C is 3C. And then you've got 1/3 C here, like that. Now, when you get to this point, again, like the other problem that I did, you have multiple options. You could add 1/3 to 3, but you still got a C, right? If you decide to do 1/3 plus 3, then you've got to remember your additional fractions. This is 3/1. If you add 1/3 plus 3, you should get 10/3. 10/3. 10/3. Now, sometimes with some of these problems, you've got a whole number, 3, and then 1/3. I would do this 3 and then 1/3. That's all. And you change that to an improper fraction because it's 3 whole number and then 1/3. That's all. So I've got 10/3 C equals 7,200. Now, at this point, you could divide 10/3, write it down, and then divide both sides by that number, or you could cross multiply. You've got 10C on top. 10C times 1 is 10C. So I'm going to erase this part and then finish the problem on this side. So if you cross multiply, you've got 10C equals 3 times 7,200. So 10C equals 3 times 7,200 will give us 21,600. Divide by 10, divide by 10. So C equals 2,160. 2,160. 2,160. Now I've got my C, the project C amount. Now I've got to find B. B is 2C. And then C is that. So B equals 2 times 2,160. And that will give me $4,320. Now for C, C is a third. I mean for A, sorry. For A is a third of C. So A equals C/3. And a third of C is 2,160 divided by 3, and that gives us 720. And that's project A. So project A is 720, project B is 4,320, project C is 2,160, and that's it. Now for this problem, it is a lot. So pause the video. I gave you more practice problems. Solve this again by yourself and go back to the practice I gave you and then look at some of the problems that is exactly like this or similar to this and then solve it. All right. Let's keep going. Now let's go to finance. Finance. On finance, we are looking at simple interest and compound interest. You've got $4,000 is deposited in a bank account at 5% simple interest. So this is a simple interest problem per year. What is the amount of money in the account after 20 years? So you want to know that with simple interest of 5%, what will be the amount of this investment or whatever it is after 20 years? First of all, you've got to know the formula. Simple interest formula for finding the amount of money after a number of years. And that is A equals P times. Now, remember, this is simple interest. So you don't have to use the formula in number 2. So forget about that formula for a second. And then let's just use the simple interest formula. I think that on the exam, the problems will give you the formula, so you don't have to worry about it. So formula is P times 1 plus RT in parentheses. Now the R is the rate. The time is the number of years. T is the number of years. T is time, the number of years. So Our principal is the P, that is the starting amount or the initial amount deposited, okay? So you've got 4,000 times 1 plus. R is the rate, which is 5%, 0.05 times 20. So you do what is in the parentheses first. So you've got 0.05 times 20. 0.05 times 20 is 1. 0.05 times 20 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So we've got 4,000 times 2, which gives you 8,000. 8,000. $8,000. So in 20 years, you're going to have 8,000. It's going to double. All right. Let's go to number 2. Now, number 2 is not a simple interest, it's a compound interest. And you see that in number 2, the formula is given to you. The formula is given to you. So if you deposit 1,500 into an account where interest is compounded monthly with an interest rate of 16%, how much money will you have after 8 years? So in compound interest, this part is very important. The number of compounding periods. The number of compounding periods. So if you look at the compound interest formula, P is the principal, R is the rate. In this problem, R is 16%. T is the time in years, which is 8 years in the problem. So 8 years is T. 16% is R. 1,500 is P. Now, the N is the number of compounding periods in a year, which means that in this problem, it says monthly. Remember, you're looking at the compounding periods in a year. So monthly, there are 12 months in a year, and it's 12. If it says quarterly, it means that you have 4 times, right? Quarterly, 4 times in the year, and it's 4. If it says semi-annual, semi-annual or semi-annual, you've got 2. If it says daily, then you're looking at 365 days. Monthly, 12. Uh, Weekly, you have 52 weeks in a year. Weekly, 52, like that, okay? Uh, so here it says monthly, so N is 12. So that's what we're going to use. So we've got all our values ready, so we've got to plug them in. So this is going to give me A, which is the amount in the account after 8 years. It's going to give me A equals 1,500, 1 plus 16% divided by 12, and then you've got 12 times 8 years. Now, 12 times 8, 12 times 8 is 96. So I could say that this part here, 12 times 8 will give me 96. Now, in this problem, you've got to be careful. You don't want to round till the end. You don't want to round till the end. So you go to your calculator, and then you're going to do 0.16 times 12, 0.16 times 12. I mean, 0.16 divided by 12, sorry, divided by 12 equals, I'm doing it on my calculator now, but I don't want to switch the screen. If not, I've got to do everything again. So times 12, I mean, divided by 12 will give you 0.013333333. You don't want to round, so keep it. And then just do plus 1, plus 1. And that gives me 1.0133333333. You don't want to round again. Now, we've got raised to the power of 96. So you don't want to round, you just want to do to the power of 96. So on the calculator, you've got the xy there on the calculator, x to the power y. That's what I mean. X to the power y, x to the power y. You hit that, and then you put 96 there. X to the power y, x to the power y. Well, probably I have to show you on the calculator, so I have to do it that way. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. X to the power y, x to the power y. This right here. So I hit it, and then it did this for me, and then I did a 96. So equals. And then now I multiply that by 1,500. Yep. So 5,349.52. You want to round to the nearest cent, 0.52. So you've got 52 cents there. And that's it. That's it. So let's go back to the study guide. The third problem, which is the last one. Oh, yeah, the last one. Yay. So here we've got a simple interest problem. This time we're given the formula, which is good. So you've got a 2,000 certificate of deposit, and it has an interest rate of 7%, which is my R. How long would it take to triple using simple interest? Wow. So you want to know, you've got this 2,000 certificate of deposit. You're like, I want to know when it's going to triple. So how long is time? When? Now, if $2,000 triples, you have $6,000, right? That's the tripling amount. So you want to find the time. So the A here, A is 6,000. My P is the 2,000 because that is what I started with. The principal is always the starting amount times 1 plus R is 0.07 T. So you've got to solve this. You're solving for T. Now, if you look at this, you've got 2,000 times whatever is in the parentheses. So what I would do first is just divide 2,000 on both sides. This will cancel that. 6,000 divided by 2,000 is the tripling amount, 3. And then now I've got 1 plus 0.07 T. Again, I'm solving for T, so I subtract 1. I subtract 1 on both sides. This goes to 0. 3 minus 1 is 2 equals 0.07 T. You divide by 0.07, divide by 0.07, and T becomes 28.7 years. And that's it. That's it. So, thankfully, I was able to go through all the problems. This should help you. I've posted more problems, practice problems. So try to use this to solve those problems. And the answers are at the end or at the back. So I wish you good luck on your exam. Keep smiling. Bye.